Okay, social media addiction reform. How can we improve global internet usage? Social media is practically everywhere. In fact, you viewing this exact speech is a form of social media itself. How often do you catch yourself on social media? What are some things you've participated in that you didn't even realize were social media, like school discussion groups? Most of us here use social media regularly, and some of us use it nearly constantly. Many people spend their day scrolling endlessly through hours of pointless content, just waiting for their next hit of dopamine. It's become muscle memory by now. In my informative speech, I established that habits are formed through ease of access and muscle memory, two things found through convenient pocket sized devices, aka smartphones. And habits that persist can become addictions. After learning how easily people can become addicted, the next step was to convince these people that they are able to reclaim their lives, use social media more effectively, and even receive compensation for the negative consequences their lives have faced due to these social media companies. I'm not here to ask you to give up social media entirely. I believe that would be unrealistic and largely unhelpful, as social media has benefits as well as downsides. Instead, I'm here to call for both personal and legal social media regulations. Firstly, I'll address how we can change our personal daily lives. If we expect to see positive changes in social media usage, we must first address our own negative connections with social media. According to Wei Zhang, in recent years, physical exercise as an alternative or adjunctive treatment for internet addiction has been extensively studied. Meta analysis showed that exercise interventions significantly improved various dimensions of the internet addiction scale and psychopathological symptoms, especially the improvement of internet addiction symptoms. This was found to be the most effective personal replacement for problematic smartphone usage. However, anything that causes a spike in dopamine for you, because everyone's interests are different, could also help, as this is the key factor in lowering social media usage. This can include dancing, drawing, reading, skating, etc. These are just my own personal examples of things that boost my dopamine production, but yours could be entirely different. This can reduce the urge to doom scroll or seek external reassurance. Now that we've discussed what you can do to help yourself at home, it's time to address the social media companies head on. Social media companies must be held liable for the damage they cause to the general public through their addictive systems. In my informative speech, I briefly mentioned the case of KGM versus Meta Platforms and Google, K standing for Kaylee. I couldn't find the full name. This case found Meta and its larger platform Google liable for negligence. Not only did this case find that these platforms had caused addiction, but they also ruled that it had caused harm to a young woman, Kaylee's, mental health, as she had been using it since she was a minor, as many of us likely have as well. Star Rock of Ebony, online edition, argues the wider implication in this first of its kind case is that social media platforms should be held accountable for their algorithms, which have been shown to cause addictive behavior, suicidal ideation, and more. After discussing all the negative usages of social media and how to improve them, I believe it's also important that we discuss the beneficial uses of these platforms and why we shouldn't seek to remove social media entirely. Social media can actually create meaningful connections between people, bridge gaps between long physical distances, and even provide benefits for educational use. In fact, this very discussion board is the first example of a positive use of social media. Accessing educational resources becomes a much simpler task when it's found at your fingertips, rather than having to visit a public library or buy private educational resources. Collins writes, social media has created networked communication channels that facilitate interactions and allow information to proliferate within professional academic communities, as well as in informal social circumstances. The explanation of this chart comes directly from Collins, and it states These are the social media services used most often by scientists. Services were ranked 1 through 10, with 1 being the service used most often, with 407 respondents. Now, an additional positive use of social media can be for distributing information. It's much simpler to find informative sources, share scientific results, and distribute and access polls now than it was in the pre internet era. Collins suggests a significant contemporary discussion in the field of science communication is how scientists are using or might use social media to communicate their research, as in the last slide. In conclusion, data suggests there are multiple ways to use social media effectively and avoid problematic outcomes. Thanks to the research being done by leading scientific minds on this topic, these solutions are being brought to light. Through dopamine inducing activities, public platform accountability, and educational growth, the internet and social media have the ability to improve the lives of people around the globe. Although it has been found to be harmful in certain conditions, social media also has the potential to be used for the betterment of humanity. As long as we address the problematic side of social media usage, we will be able to reform it into a helpful source of information and connection as it was originally intended. And here are my sources. Thank you.